Alright, welcome back. Quick tip on getting this nice smooth shape in your bowl with no bench and no sunken center, which I like to call sump. So, folks have been asking how do you do that, so we created this 1 pound 10 ounce challenge and said let's start making some really nice round bowls with nice interiors, good shaped interiors with no sump, no bench. So how do you do that? Well, it turns out to be super simple to do it, by the way. But this is the 1 pound 10 ounce challenge, and I think this was the winner. So you take 1 pound 10 ounces of clay and you try to make it as big and as shapely as you can. And I think this ends up to be 7.5 by almost 4. I think we used this video to show another tip to somebody because I had a request about I can't get my wire to work right. It starts cutting into my wire. So I said, well, here's a tip that might work for you. It works for me, is to take my needle and undercut this by about 1/4 inch. And then I simply wire it using good wiring practices and pressing down to the bat. But the wire follows the undercut real well for me. And then I just simply take the bowl off. So simple. Now this challenge also includes the back end of that, where the goal is not to have to trim our bowl very much. So if you spend all this time shaping the inside and you made the outside pretty nice and you trimmed away all the waste clay while you were throwing it, then the next question is, how can you make a bowl with the least amount of trimming? And this, I think, was the winner. So that's the bowl you just saw, and that's the extent of the trimming that was necessary. And there's the bisque version. And because of the way these are thrown, and it's super simple, I'll get to it, I promise. You can see Marcia carved some great leaves in the bowl. It's super sturdy and it's nice and round, and it doesn't have any funky stuff on the inside. So, what's the special tip? That's almost embarrassing. So I'm not the master thrower, so when I have to figure out something, I have to figure out an easy way for me to do it. And the easiest way I know to do it kind of correlates well with the compression video that we did. So for a bowl, the final ribbing and shaping really needs to go from top to bottom, from the inside edge all the way down to the bottom. So I created a little video, and that's all there is to it. So you're going to laugh when you see it, go, that's it, that's your secret. And so we prepared a little video and repositioned the camera and kind of knocked our pot out of line, but you're going to watch me go from top to bottom. Now I'll make a full bowl video from start to finish, but I go from top to bottom, whether I'm using a sponge or whether I'm using a regular rib, which I really like, or even a bowl rib. I have a couple bowl ribs. I like the shape, so for consistency I may use a bowl rib to get my shape and then finish it with a smaller rib. But that's it, top to bottom. Force the sides to be compressed, and force the center to be well compressed, and no water, and you can really rib it like glass. So here we go, let's run a video. Okay, this is a just under 2 pounds, and we move the camera over to my left, and all I'm going to show you is I go from top to bottom, and I'm using an ordinary red rib, which I like. That's it. The only trick is in the center. You can dig in with your rib. After you do that a couple times, you'll go, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. So minimal practice, and you end up with a very, very smooth interior of your bowl. And of course, when we show you the full video, we'll talk about trimming the waste clay from the bottom, so you don't have much trimming to do when they're done. But this is a super sturdy, super uniform bowl, and I kind of put it back into non-wobble mode, but that's all there is to it. So if I can do it with a rib like that, I guarantee you can too. So quick tip, and we will get a full video and maybe one off the hump, because we want to show people Compressing really helps off the hump, so you don't have to worry about S-cracks, but also helps with shaping off the hump as well. Just like this helps with shaping. So if you want a really round, uniform shape, and you don't always want that. I mean, there's different style bowls, but if you want a really uniform shape, experiment with this. Learn how to compress down and in, and all your stuff will be easier to make. So that's it. That's the major tip. That's it for today, and I hope you find it useful.